Yes, it's compromising military capabilities.
And I'm live again with Sam Samuels, this time discussing something on the subject, on the minds of every Jew and Gentile in our troubled times.
Yes. Yes. How are you, Claire?
Well,
I hope you're having a pleasant weekend.
I am, yes, thanks. I've so many topics on the subject that we're discussing that, yes, I'm glad that you're available to discuss this.
All right. Yeah. Just as uh, just a minor note. Anyone out there accusing me of being non-observant? I'm not Sabbath observant completely. Today's the Sabbath. I don't drive on the Sabbath. I don't light fires. I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes or anything like that. But I'm not fully Sabbath observant. I still use electronic appliances and watch TV. That's a self-admitted flaw. I should be more observant, but at the time for now, in the meantime, until we have full messianic revelation, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% fully Sabbath observant. I recognize that weakness and that flaw in myself, but I keep myself occupied on the Sabbath.
In a way
I
that
don't work.
focuses on your Jewish identity. I mean, I would argue that you
Yeah,
are actually doing what you are supposed to do on the Sabbath, which is to, reflect on being Jewish.
right.
And
Yes,
so
but
it's not like we're discussing golf or baseball or,
still, it's a big no-no. It's forbidden to like use electricity and conduct kind of telephonic conversations and this kind of stuff. I used to go to temple more often, more frequently when I was younger, but I got turned off to it. It's just uh, for my own reasons. It's not easy for me to get along even with the religious. Like I said, I'm a bit of a loner. I'm a bit of a lone wolf type.
you said
Uh,
temple. That means you come from a
synagogue
reform
to synagogue.
background. Is it?
Uh,
I mean,
to
when you
go to
say
services.
temple, does that mean you're reform? When you say shul, it means you're
Well,
orthodox.
temple, shul, synagogue. I meant all of it. I meant if I would go to any synagogue, I would go to an Orthodox synagogue, not a reform or conservative synagogue. But we don't have those here in Israel. We separate them more along the lines of ethnic distinctions. We have like Middle Eastern and Ashkenazic, and but nowadays in newer neighborhoods, it's mixed. You get everyone of all backgrounds going to services together. It could be Orthodox, traditional, not so religious, middle of the road, just like myself. And it's more of the Jews are actually becoming more open to and more tolerant of one another, despite ethnic differences and different takes on religion. So that's a good
You
thing.
call yourself middle of the road, do
Yeah,
you?
I'm a traditional middle of the road. A lot of Jews in Israel are like this. They're not atheists. They're not reformists. And Rabbi Mizrahi knows. He mentions us as masortim. Like traditionalists.
Aha,
Yeah.
I see. So, um,
The
okay,
ones,
I mean,
the
I
ones
suppose, I mean, because of your
say that.
views, some Jews, in the diaspora might call you an extremist because of the extreme.
Points of view on them on what will entail
Well, you're
messianic.
saying that they all have to go to Israel. I mean, I guess if you're
Oh, yeah,
happily
yeah,
settled in
that
the
sounds like
diaspora.
some sort. Sure. That sounds like an extremist point of view to them. I can understand that. I can see why they would say that.
Okay.
But the thing about it is that honestly, this again, this conflict, this struggle, this back and forth is not. It's not my fight to fight with them. It's written in our traditions, in our commentaries and mystical beliefs that it's not the Christians. The Christians always take from us, they readapt it and they reshape it to fit their perspective on a religion and on the God they invented and the false God they worship. It, it is a real belief that we have that in the end times, that the Messiah would have to struggle with the Jews in order to bring them back to Israel. You can ask any religious Jew, any believing Jew, that that's what's said in our beliefs, in our books, that the Messiah would have to struggle with the Jews living outside of Israel in order to return them to, in order to ingather them to Israel. And maybe they want to ignore that. Maybe they want to change the perspective on that sort of necessary event that there will have to be a struggle. They might want to, again, alter it, reinterpret it, because they have their personal interests in wanting to stay there. But it is a belief, and you can ask all the rabbis that understand what messianic revelation entails, that the Mashiach would have to struggle and fight with the Jews living outside of Israel in order to bring them all back and gather them.
Right.
And that does not necessarily mean that there's going to be some sort of physical confrontation. This is like it's all spiritual, and in a certain way, it's also verbal, and it's also the verbal warnings. It's also the a sort of ringing the bell and giving them stern, sort of like spurning them and giving them stern wake up calls, because now it's easier. There's more relevant current events that are pressuring them, and that is from God. That is so the struggle between them and the Mashiach is actually occurring right now. So
Well, the you know, all groups, I think, are being confused and given dilemmas that they probably think are impossible, because it just the people are frightened, so they don't want to be starting out on traveling to somewhere where they think might even worsen their situation. So
correct.
I get and when we're in doubt, we would want to, well, we freeze and
Rationalize.
we decide not to do anything and stay
Yeah,
put.
they'll rationalize things away, and they'll wait till the last minute. And despite the fact that they know that they are in danger, despite the fact that they can see that the anti-Semites living in their in amongst them, or that they live amongst,
Hmm.
are becoming bolder and becoming louder and becoming more brazen, and they're trying to intimidate them, but the police can't stop them, and because they're too numerous now. They're too numerous now. So you see incidents in broad daylight in America now, where Jews are being attacked in synagogues in broad daylight, and they are trying to make sense of it, but they the last thing they'll do is attributed to the hand of God and attributed to the Mashiach struggling with them in order to have them leave the lives they have grown accustomed to in the diaspora, in the exile. And the Jewish people that are believers are supposed to be spiritually in tune. So some will be more compliant. Some will be more I'd say when they relent, and they'll accept things and they'll break their stiff-necked resistance. They'll relent and they'll say, "Yes, this is from God. Yes, this is God giving us all the hints, all the sort of a persuasive jabs to get us to do things in a relatively painless or relatively a smooth way in order that we should not be harmed
Right.
by the swift, the severe and difficult judgment that will eventually soon arrive. And
I
then
mean,
there'll be
understandably, your concerns are only with the Jewish people, and
no, no, no,
you're just
no, no,
going to leave the Gentile to, well, stew in their own
no,
moral
no.
sewage.
Well, look, no, they well after reviewing a lot of the comments in the previous videos that we've had with one another, the previous conversations we've had with one another, I've been, tempted to take that kind of position of screw them and let them stew in their own juices and let them boil and let their heads explode and let them basically go to hell because they are trying to provoke me as well. After the fact, I'm looking at their comments, and I realize who they are and what they're about, and I lose empathy for them. I lose my compassion for them. I actually take the position of severity and let them go to hell. Let them all burn in hell.
Well, they're
It,
just dumb. They're just, they're basically low education, low information, low status, unmarriageable white males who know
yeah,
that they have no future anyway, and
right.
and their only way of participating in politics is to join these groups and post their anti-Semitic, anti-Islamophobic, racist shit, because
Sure.
that is political discussion as far as these people are concerned. They know they will forever be ignored because
Yeah.
they
Well,
can't express their problems without blaming somebody else, and that will immediately attract hate speech, punishment. Because
well,
they can't actually think their way through their problems. You know,
exactly. But
because I mean the analogy would be that if you live in a house and the roof is leaking, what do? You call in the roofers. You don't round up all the residents and say, "Are you a Jew? Did you do it?" Because they are that dumb, right?
yeah.
And,
Well,
and and
well,
Christianity has made them stupid.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you're forced to believe in this absurdity, you can't help but, I mean, you'd have to lobotomize your mind to believe in that
yeah.
absurdity.
Well, because I am an empathetic person. I do have sort of feelings and empathy for all people, and I do. I do examine myself. I do
Mm.
take time to be reflective of myself and my
I'm
thoughts and
doing
my
it out
emotions.
of the principle of the thing. I mean, obviously, a lot of these people are just lowlifes, right? I mean, they will never be
Yeah,
persuaded. They will be motivated only by hatred because they are motivated only by their emotions.
yeah,
They're never gonna admit that they were wrong or that their ancestors were wrong. They would fight you to the death rather than admit that they were wrong.
right,
This is the kind of people we're dealing with. And this is the kind of people that these alt-right leaders are pandering to. The people with the bigger YouTube channels than me, they pander to these people. They dare not tell them that there is another way. Even if they might agree with me, they're too afraid to tell off these people because
right.
they fund their super chats and their super stickers, and they are the ones who are their greatest fans of these people.
Right. Well, yeah. Because I know where I stand, and because I know where we have arrived in time in history, I am less inclined to get worked up by them. And even though they
Me
want to
too.
try to get me worked up and provoke me and incite me into becoming, just like them.
Hmm.
Full of rage and full of anger, full of emotion and the name calling and the insults, and to indulge in that stupidity. I'm very serene I'm very calm. I'm not even tempted. I'm not tempted anymore
Yeah.
to engage with them. I don't want to interact with them. I care nothing for them. I
I mean,
feel
I'm doing it out of the principle of the thing. You know, it's like it's so obvious to me that they've got the wrong religion and they stopped believing it in, you know, centuries ago, and that and they're basically bleeding to death. You know, in terms of, you know, whatever they used to have, whatever they used to own, whatever they used to know. Um,
well, I know,
would you be okay about
yeah.
dealing with the chat? I have to go away for a few minutes, maybe a bit longer. Would you be able to just, you know,